Laura Wilkerson. Her son Josh was brutally murdered by an illegal classmate on November 16, 2010. The illegal is serving time for the crime. Please welcome Laura Wilkerson.
Thank you so much. My name is Laura Wilkerson and I live just outside of Houston, Texas, and I have 3 children. Our youngest son was Joshua. He was 18 years old. And I think I actually probably got the most justice out of any of the families that I know surrounding me. Thank you to Texas for that. So I'm just going to tell you what the killer said he did to my son from the witness stand. He testified, and I want to tell you what he said he did. He said his first thing was to hit Joshua in the face so hard that he wouldn't fight back. He would be blinded. And when he did, it crushed his nasal cavity and bones in his face. The next thing he did was take his knee and knee Joshua so hard in the stomach that it sliced his spleen in 2. The medical examiner said that was torture. It was very painful. The killer told us again that Joshua kept rolling around and wouldn't stop getting up. So he got a closet rod that was close to him and he beat Josh over the head with it so hard until the closet rod broke in 4 pieces. The last picture I saw at trial of Joshua, when he's got an eyebrow here and an eyebrow up here and his head's disfigured and broken, is something you don't want to see. The next thing he did, he said bloody bubbles would not stop coming out of Joshua's nose, so he strangled him. He would then release him and let him go to see if he was dead. Strangled him again. He did it over and over per the medical examiner. He couldn't tell me how many times. Finally, when the killer said Josh stopped breathing, he tied him up with rope, about 13 ropes around his neck, to his hands and feet and his back belt loop behind his back. He then hoisted Josh on his shoulder, put him in our truck, drove around town, bought $2 of gasoline, and then he put him in a field and set him on fire. The killer from the stand muttered over and over about in his country things were different in his country, He kept telling us his parents somehow had enough money to buy him a black belt in mixed martial arts. Joshua was 100 pounds. Other than his brother, he'd never been in a fight with anybody in his life. His intent that day was to kill someone. He had a girlfriend that he'd been accused of stalking, and she testified from the stand that he told her one day he would do exactly those things to somebody. He would watch them die. He would strangle them, beat them, torture them, and cut their fingers off. The only thing that he did not do to Joshua is cut his fingers off. He was proud of what he did. He didn't show an ounce of remorse. He kept saying his killing skills took over. His killing skills took over. He absolutely got off the stand and demonstrated on the district attorney just how he strangled Josh over and over. I sat there thinking those hands were the last thing Josh saw and he felt around his throat. It's somewhere you do not want your family to be. We know our kids aren't coming back. Of course, it took us years to process that, to make it equal in our head and our hearts. We know they're not coming back. We don't want your family to be up here testifying to this. It absolutely destroys family. And we know who destroys families, and that's Satan. It's nothing from God. It's the destroyer of families, American families. We are not going to abolish ICE. We are not going to cater to illegal aliens before Americans. And we're going to keep pushing this narrative to tell you this happened to my family, it can happen to yours. We were a stay-at-home mom, a blue-collar, hard-working family, try to adhere to every letter of the law, and then along comes somebody from another country that shouldn't be here in the first place and just rips our littlest kid out and tortures him. I assure you, you don't want to have a story to tell. I want to say thank you to Marianne and Michelle for getting us all together today, and all the volunteers did such a good job. We are going to support our law enforcement. We will never abolish ICE, and we will keep our families at the forefront so your families do not have to be.
Not my family.
Absolutely. We just can't explain to you how much it devastates a family. You know, you look at around, I look at his siblings and I can't fix them. I feel worthless. You know, everything you do as a mom is you fix your kids. You help them with what they did wrong or what they did right, and you help them. And when this happens, you look at them. And I remember my oldest son came home from the military to bury his little brother. After the funeral, I remember gathering all of us in the living room before I took Adam back to the airport, and I said, we're going to make it through this. You know, we're going to make it. Things are going to be okay, and we're going to make it. And I thought later, that's probably the first time I've ever lied to my kids in my life. I didn't know the next second if we were going to make it. What it does to you is you have to decide 10 times a day, I'm going to make this. And the next minute, you're like, no, I'm not. It's really a decision to live and to push forward and put one foot in front of the other. And it is painful. I don't want you to have to be there. Thank you for everyone that supports us. We appreciate your time, and Joshua's life mattered.
Yes. We love you. Americans over illegals.
America first.
America first.
We're going to close.
Again.
Yes.
Not enough.